The dog lunged, snarling, teeth inches from Marcus's face. But instead of panic, he stood his ground. One word, firm and sharp, stopped the animal cold. The crowd gasped. The officers froze. How did he do that? And why did a black man walking home trigger such a violent response? What no one knew was that Marcus had trained dogs like this for war. But tonight, in his own neighborhood, he wasn't seen as a hero. This is the story of power, prejudice, and a deadly miscalculation. Welcome, story lovers, from where are you? Watching, comment the name of your city. Asterisk, it was just after sunset when Marcus Reed stepped out of the gym, his breath steady from the evening run, his hoodie damp with sweat. A former military dog handler, now a quiet warehouse supervisor, Marcus lived a life far removed from the chaos he once knew overseas. His neighborhood wasn't perfect, but it was home where he greeted the same faces, nodded at the same corner, store, and jogged the same block nearly every night. He loved the routine, the calm. But tonight, as a cruiser rolled past him slower than usual and circled the block again, something shifted. He noticed the sudden silence. No crickets. No cars. Just the low rumble of tires on asphalt and the soft growl he thought he imagined. Marcus adjusted his hood and kept walking, unaware that in just minutes, his military training would collide head-on with a cruel, racially charged assumption. Asterisk Marcus turned the corner, heading toward his apartment complex when flashing lights cut through the dusk behind him. A police cruiser screeched to a halt, no sirens, just urgency. Two officers leapt out, guns drawn. Get on the ground. Hands where we can see them. Confused, Marcus froze. His military instincts kicked in, but so did something else, something heavier. That sinking realization that this wasn't about what he did. It was about who he was. He raised his hand slowly, carefully. I live right there, he said, motioning toward the gate, but they weren't listening. One officer barked into a radio. The other unclipped something from his belt. That's when Marcus heard it, the low, guttural growl of a canine. A second squad car pulled up. The dog lunged from the back, snarling and snapping at the leash, inches from his face. Marcus didn't move, didn't flinch. Every nerve in his body screamed, but he stayed still. He had trained dogs more dangerous than this in war zones. He knew how they thought. He also knew fear could trigger an attack. The officer holding the leash tightened his grip. We've had reports of a break-in. You match the description, he said flatly. Marcus, still steady, looked him in the eye. I've done nothing wrong. But it didn't matter. The leash slipped. The dog lunged. And in that instant, every part of Marcus's past came crashing into his present. Asterisk. The dog launched toward Marcus, teeth bared, aimed for his throat. In a flash, instinct took over. He pivoted, dropped his shoulder, and with a sharp command, down. The dog froze midair. Confused, whimpering, it backed off. The officers stared, stunned. Marcus stood tall, voice calm but firm. I trained dogs like this in combat, he said. But the moment didn't end there. One officer, embarrassed and angry, shoved him to the ground. The dog whimpered again, afraid now, not of Marcus, but the hands that held the leash. A crowd had gathered. Phones were up. Sirens wailed in the distance. Marcus lay on the cold pavement, heart pounding, not from fear, but from rage. Not even his military past could shield him from this moment. Dear audience, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to give it a like. It really helps. Asterisk Marcus was released with no charges, no apology, just the bruises on his wrists and a silence. That said, this happens all the time. He returned home, but the man who walked through that door was not the same one who left. The respect he'd earned in uniform didn't matter here, not to them. Because in that moment, he wasn't a veteran, he was just a black man, profiled and dehumanized And that's the reality for too many. You can serve your country, save lives, obey every law, and still be treated like a threat. His story is one of millions, each a reminder that justice isn't equal and safety isn't guaranteed. How many more need to suffer before change truly begins? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories and new videos. Asterisk, the dog lunged, snarling, teeth inches from Marcus's face. But instead of panic, he stood his ground. One word, firm and sharp, stopped the animal cold. The crowd gasped. The officers froze. How did he do that? And why did a black man walking home trigger such a violent response? What no one knew was that Marcus had trained dogs like this for war. But tonight, in his own neighborhood, he wasn't seen as a hero. This is the story of power, prejudice, and a deadly miscalculation. Welcome, story lovers. From where are you watching? Comment the name of your city